Hi, this is Dan Wickwire here. In this session, we'll look at question number 197 in my book, 200 Questions About the Bible and the Quran. The question is this: did 7 men and a dog actually wake up in a cave after sleeping there for 309 years? No, according to the Bible, there's no such story, but yes, according to the Quran. First of all, I want to read several verses that talk about the danger of believing in fables. 1 Timothy 1:4 says, "Nor give heed to fables and endless genealogies which cause disputes rather than godly edification which is in faith." 1 Timothy 1:4. And then in 1 Timothy 4:7 it says again, "But refuse profane old wives' fables, and exercise thyself rather unto godliness." Then another one in 2 Timothy 4:4, "And they will turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to fables." A little further on in Titus 1:14, "Not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men who turn from the truth." And then finally in 2 Peter 1:16, "For we did not follow cunningly devised fables when we made known to you the power and coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, but were eyewitnesses of his majesty." So here we have 5 different places in the New Testament, in the Injil, where there are warnings not to listen to Jewish fables and legends. Now, when we go into the Quran, look at Kaf 18:9 and following. Verse 9. "Do you consider that companions of the cave and the bearers of the inscription were a wonder among our signs? When the young men took refuge in the cave, then we sealed up their hearing and made them sleep in the cave for a number of years. You might have thought them awake, though they were sleeping. We turned them about and left them while their dog lay at the cave's entrance with legs outstretched. So they stayed in the cave 300 years, and some add 9 more. Well, there is no such story like this in the Bible. But, as I mentioned, there are many warnings that believers should not give heed to Jewish fables. Now, if you look up the 7 sleepers story in Wikipedia, this is what it says. It says, "It's commonly called the 7 sleepers of Ephesus, referring to a group of Christian youths who hid inside a cave outside the city of Ephesus around 250 AD to escape a persecution of Christians being conducted during the reign of the Roman Emperor Decius. Having fallen asleep inside the cave, they purportedly awoke approximately 150 to 200 years later during the reign of Theodosius II. An outline of this tale appears in Gregory of Tours in 538 and 594. Well, the Quran takes this story, which was already circulating back at the time of Muhammad. It's a fable, it's a story, a legend, and yet they added another, instead of 150 to 200 years, they added 300 or 309 years. And so there's some uncertainty as to was it really 300 or 309 years. Also, there's some uncertainty in the footnotes in the Quran concerning, there are uncertainties about how long they slept and how many young men slept, and these things are dismissed as being a pointless diversion and petty details. So this is how the Islamic scholars basically kind of just ignore these little differences and uncertainties. But the fact is that this whole story just comes from a legend, a Jewish fable, and it's it's evident in the ancient literature. It appears in Gregory of Tours from 538 to 594. So the question is this. I'll mention one more thing here. In Qaf 18, 9 through 27, verse 9, it says, there was a wonder among our signs. It mentions that this is something God did, that it was a wonder among our signs, a miracle, in other words. And then in verse 15, it says, well, who can be more wicked than one who invents a falsehood against Allah? And then in verse 13, note that it says, we tell you the truth, we tell their story with the truth. Well, in verse 27, it says, no one can change his words. Well, was it 300 or was it 309 years? Was it 3 people or 5 or 7 or 9? These things remain up for grabs in the story. And so it's knowing that it came from a Jewish fable casts a big shadow of doubt upon the whole story. So here's the question. Did 7 men and a dog actually wake up in a cave after sleeping there for 309 years? No, according to the Bible. There's no such story in the Bible. And yes, in the Qur'an.